produce an outright winner indicates that South Africans want all political parties to work together for the benefit of the people and country. And analysts say the lack of cooperation amongst political parties in the municipalities should be blamed for coalition failure. I want to take you back to 1994, where the interim constitution negotiated by the multi-party negotiations to end apartheid that started in 1990 allowed all parties that gained more than 10% of the vote to participate in a government of national unity. So the new government at the time that was elected in 1994 had members from many political parties in the cabinet. This government of national unity lasted until 1999, although it was dominated by the African National Congress, and a reported lack of shared decision-making prompted the second largest party at the time, the National Party, to withdraw from the GNU in 1996. But would adopting the late President Nelson Mandela's model of a government of national unity, like the one adopted in 1994, be the panacea for a stable government? Now, joining us virtually is political analyst Levi Ndou to discuss this. A very good morning to you, Dr. Ndou. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Good morning to you, Simpiwe. Good morning to the viewers at home. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, Dr. Ndou. And it's interesting how we've come full circle. I mean, President Cyril Ramaphosa back in 1994 played a very key role in terms of the formation of the government of national unity. And 30 years later, he finds himself at the helm of a party that is still negotiating another government of national unity. And just a few months as a lead up to the 2024 elections here in South Africa, a term that was bandied about was coalition and coalition government. But not much was said about the government of national unity. I want us to dissect, the differences between the two, what each entails.
Well, I think it's important to know that indeed President Ramaphosa has a very good history of what has actually happened in the past. The decision to opt for a government of national unity is informed by the fact that the ANC has not won the majority, the 50+1 in parliament,
yeah.
And they find themselves on the crossroads. The first that most people thought was that maybe we could go for a coalition. And now the ANC finds itself in a very difficult situation, whether they have to choose parties that are on the right and parties that are on the left. And the ANC appears not to take a firm decision on which parties they can enter into a coalition with, because whatever decision that they take has a potential to backfire. But what therefore becomes the difference is that in a coalition, political parties come together in order to form a government. As long as they are able to reach a 50+1, they can do that having isolated other political parties, even though they performed very, very well in the elections. In the government of national unity, what you do is that you invite all political parties that have actually performed better in the elections. You might decide to take those that got more than 10%, or even 5%, and then you allocate positions to these different political parties. What you also then do in the government of national unity is to invite everyone to be in government, and you actually extend your hand without choosing exactly which party is supposed to participate in the GNU.
Right.
You only look at the performance. You do that for the purposes of harmony and for the purposes of unity amongst different political parties. Or it can also backfire, but at this stage, the ANC has found this to be a better choice.
And just picking up on what you said, I suppose we need to extend our conversation to the level of influence that each party has in terms of influencing policy, in terms of influencing, major decisions that will affect government departments. And it's often been insinuated that a potential ANC and DA coalition may be punted to settle investor nerves due to, the so-called